Hello, everyone, and welcome back to This Week in Guns, brought to you by Patriot Patch Company and Primary Arms. This show offers commentary on all the latest firearms industry news, information, and also there's some buzz. We do buzz. I'm your host, Matthew Larosiere, and this man rudely interrupting me. Can you believe? Definite Northerner, Shawn Herrin. How is it going?
I wonder. Very interrupty today. Consider it how this whole show is going to go. I stopped thinking. Turns out I'm an asshole.
It's okay. Yeah, no, Shawn's been busy for a minute and a half, but
I was out of town for a month.
Yep, you were. How did that feel?
It was actually horrible. I mean, I did cool things while I was gone, but when you're not home for a month, like a lot of things stacks up.
Right.
Like,
oh my God, that's for
laundry and groceries, and it's horrible. I hate it.
The best thing about coming home after being gone for a bit is the smell when you enter your home. And you're like, right? It's just the first thing you're like, what did I forget?
No. Nope, that doesn't happen to me because I travel so much that I've adopted some very good habits, and one of those is throwing all the stuff in the fridge away and taking out the trash the morning I leave.
I don't do that.
You should. It's a great.
I don't do that, and I come home and I'm like, ah.
What is that? Oh no, Alex has passed away, and
no, hold on, Alex, disprove these myths.
Alex,
she was napping.
Starvation.
Oh.
Yeah,
there she is. Totally okay.
She seems fine.
Alex, do you seem fine? Tell the microphone. Tell it.
Yep. That was actually dog, not me.
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. But anyway, so I think there's something we should talk about first. It's this company. It's primarily arms that they sell, right? I think it's
that makes sense to me. I am familiar with primarily the primarily arms dealer, Primary Arms.
Yeah, the primarily arms primary company that sells arms that are both primary and secondary. So you can see here, that looks like a secondary weapon. If you ask me, this is
my primary.
This is your primary.
It is. I noticed I noticed a couple things when I was looking, and I don't know if you had anything to talk about, and I've rudely interrupted what you were going to talk about. Like I told you, this is the way things are going to go. But I saw that they had the P365 XL 9mm with both a holster and the Romeo Zero and magazines and all of that for $7.99. Plus you get Primary Arms bonus bucks back of $75.
Wow.
So you're like $700 for a pistol with a red dot and a holster and 12 round magazines. Bruh.
I think that's $724.99, you imbecile. But
ish. Ish.
Something like that.
Yeah, but that's a pretty good deal. And it's in stock.
It is. And minus 12 round.
Yeah, minus 12.
Yeah, that's
I use the dash for everything. I can't criticize.
No, it's totally cool. It's amazing that how they fit 12 rounds into such a nice little package.
Whoa.
Oh, they got the tubles.
They got dual tube, Steel Industries DT NVS Elbit thin filmed green phosphor, $7,000. Well, $6,900.
See at 9. That's not too bad, especially for right now.
Dude, that's pretty epic.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
In stock. I didn't even know they sold this stuff. Oh,
Yeah, this makes me jealous because I'm a goon.
Yeah, I too. I've just got a lowly PVS 14.
Yep, got only one nod. That's us.
Yeah,
I have a PVS 14, but it's a white Foss.
Mine's green. I'm super poor.
Oh, and then they got one for $58.99. That's it's an RNVG.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
Well, I think that they can go research that for themselves. They can go to frn.deals/PA and support the companies that support the show.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Everybody should do that. Everybody should go support the companies that support us, and then we can still exist and eat ramen.
That's amazing.
Speaking of blunders, like my friend Shawn has promised a great many on this show.
No, interruptions, not blunders. There was the third one.
Well, they're the same thing, and you would know that if you had ever been trained with manners. So our dear and fearless leader, His Holiness
Donald Trump,
President Biden, President Bidet.
Oh, that guy.
Biden. Mr. Biden he's had an interesting week related to guns. So, as a lot of you know, there was a uptick in violent crime, and so of course, in a nation of 400 million people, the president's office must be the one to come up with all the explanations and solutions for localized criminal activity. It's really quite obvious if you do your research. So he announced a few things. First of all, he's going to clamp down on FFLs, which obviously will save millions of lives and probably many millions of dollars from our pockets. Because, once he knocks out all these FFLs, we won't be really buying as many things. So that's going to be a nice benefit. He's launching a strike force to go after illegal gun transactions, whatever those are. And then he got in front of a camera and said a bunch of really cool, historically accurate stuff. I don't know if we can pop that up, but it was really, we gotta show this.
I can. Let's see. Let me click that link.
Really accurate.
And here we go. I'm going to throw it up on the screen now.
Yeah. Maximize that.
Maximize it.
Yeah, she's looking good now.
All right. We got to turn that up. Actually, I think I might have this website muted. This was not planned, clearly. Here we go.
The Second Amendment from the day it was passed limited the type of people who could own a gun and what type of weapon you could own. You couldn't buy a cannon. Those who say the blood of patriots, and all the stuff about how we're going to have to move against the government. Well, the tree of liberty is not water with the blood of patriots. What's happening?
Yeah, it's not.
That there never been. If you wanted to think you need to have weapons to take on the government, you need F-15s and maybe some nuclear weapons. The point is that there's always been the ability to rationally limit the type of weapon that can be owned and who can own it. The Second Amendment from the day it was passed.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he just threaten us with F-15s and nuclear weapons?
No, I think he's offering to sell us some.
I mean, that's how much I support the Second Amendment.
I mean, I'll take a couple, whatever, if he's going to give me a deal, right?
I can't really afford them probably, but when
the government sells you weapons, you don't actually pay. I mean, just look at Turkey.
Fair.
So we just need to, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to get in that same program. I think that's what he's offering. But no, I mean, this is profound. Like, this is really imbecilic. I don't understand why you would, if you're going to go back to the founding era, right, for a gun control example, the only thing you can say is, well, yes, in the founding era, they did understand that common law felons, which, a felony back then meant something a little different. It didn't it wasn't that 10% of them involved misuse of postage stamps, right? It was like rape and murder and arson. They did understand that those people, it was regulable, right? to take weapons away from them. There was not a cannon ban.
No.
In fact, cannons were most assuredly a thing that you could just buy. And the original, when the military was first formed, many of their heavy artillery were donated from, guess what? Private people.
Man.
Right, because, private warships. And I don't know, this whole it's just utterly bonkers. And it's so funny when people say, of course they understood you could have limits. And then you go back to 1934 when they passed the NFA. And you look at the congressional record, which I'm sure everybody does, right? And it's not just total weirdos like me that actually read all that. And you find them actually, they said, when they were passing the NFA, one of the worst gun laws we ever had is, well, obviously we can't just ban machine guns because that would violate the Second Amendment. So what we're going to do is this clever little trick, right?
Jerks.
But so I just think it's interesting that you go from the founding era where the founders literally would steal cannons from what were then the feds, the British, turn them around and fire them. And to now our government saying, no, you know, it's okay you can't kill the government. You need a nuke and outdated jet fighter. Like, you can't.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, I don't know, man. They want to have a zero tolerance policy.
Yeah.
Revoke the license of dealers for failing to respond to a tracing request or refusing to permit ATF to conduct an inspection.
Right. Which people don't do, by the way.
I was like, is that an option? Can I do that?
I mean, if it was like a 3-strike policy, I would totally be like, no, you're not allowed here. Just close the door.
Okay, bye.
I get 2 more.
Well, I mean, that must be what we have now, because they want to go to a zero tolerance policy. So, like,
right.
I would like to know the specific amount of times that I can refuse an inspection.
Yeah. Yeah. But like, so for all of you out there, I don't think you can. And even if there is a like bootleg way to do it, most people aren't aware of that. Shawn runs an FFL and I'm involved in one too. And when the ATF calls, you answer is pretty much how they run it.
It's pretty simple. And it shows up on my phone. The caller ID is literally like BATFE.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. You're like, I don't want to do this, but I have to. But yes, that's.
Hello?
What do you want? Is this about my dog?
Yeah, please. No, I love my dog. She's amazing.
I love my dog too.
This is so, I don't know, man. I'm so sick. For a couple things here. Like, first of all, cracking down on FFLs. Like, yeah, I believe that there's some bad FFLs out there. In fact, I know a couple.
No.
Or I knew a couple. I don't believe they're FFLs anymore. Oh, wait a minute. The system actually works. They didn't do what they were supposed to do, and they got their license removed from them. Okay, cool. That sounds fair. Second of all, why is every single word that I hear from this buffoon unintelligible? What is it called? Lethologica. It's like when you can't remember the word for something. Like, it happens to everybody. I understand that. And sometimes you just lose your train of thought. But maybe if it wasn't the president of, the best country on earth, like, constantly losing what he's trying to say, like, when I do it, it's no big deal because I suck at everything. When the president does it, I'm like, that doesn't look good.
Yeah, that looks weird.
Yeah, that can't be good when he's like, it was like George Bush. He did it. And I made fun of him when he did it.
Everybody made fun of him. The dude couldn't catch a break.
Right. Except, it wasn't every time, but every time I hear Biden, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, Mr. Bidet. And I am not a Bush apologist. I will admit that when I was an idiot high schooler, I thought that, when I was, whatever the time of that was, I thought that George Bush would be regarded as the greatest president of all time. I said that, and I was wrong. But
because then Trump was.
But even then, no, it's Calvin Coolidge. But even then, right? I remember remember when he said nuclear?
Yeah, of course I remember. Everybody remembers.
Yeah, everybody. There was a huge, unbelievable shit fit where and like a bunch of linguists had to get together and basically explain, no, actually, in our garbage mutt language, that is an acceptable pronunciation. And it still didn't solve the debate. Everyone was still like, no, if you say nuclear, you're like not fit for all of it. And then we've got this like mush mouth, Mr. Magoo just wandering around knocking stuff over, and everyone's like, oh wow, this is fine.
Dog face pony soldier.
And he said AFT again this week.
Oh God,
he did it again.
So listen, like, I am always a person that's like, I respect the office of the president, even if I don't like the man that holds it. And I definitely don't like the man that holds it. And
I respect the office of the president.
I mean, like, I'm not saying that like they're my butt buddy or anything, but I just, I think our government is pretty cool in theory, not in execution, but in theory. And I want to try to like respect this human being, but I can't.
I can respect him as a human, like if I saw him, on the street, right, and he was like so hungry, like, all bones and stuff, and I had like a whole big thing of animal crackers, I'd be like, okay, you can have one. Like I could totally give him that basic human dignity, but like as a dude, I'm sorry, I just don't have anything in common with you.
I would never give a starving politician an animal cracker ever, under any circumstance.
But see, like you said, as a person, right? You have to know, if they're a politician, that changes the game.
Then they're no longer a person.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, fair.
I mean, that's obvious. That's just like the definition of the like the founders, how they understood the Second Amendment. Well, what is the militia, right? The militia and the people. Well, that's everyone except for some bureaucrats.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're not people when they're in their office. They're either, there's a lot of different theories as to what they are. Some people subscribe to lizard theory. I'm a spider theorist. I believe that sincerely, and there's scientific evidence to back this up, that when you swear into office that you die immediately, because no human being can withstand that level of just trash. And they are like, they get all scared because no one else in the room wants to do it because they saw what happened. And so what they do is they open up your guts and they fill you with spiders. And so then the whole, the remainder of your tenure is just a bunch of spiders twitching and doing random things. And that's why they are the way that they are.
I mean,
it checks out mathematically.
The science is there, and I follow the science. I don't know about you.
So you need to trust the experts.
Well, that was an interesting set. That was just like an interesting whole rabbit hole that we went to. It's my fault. I don't apologize.
It's spiders. The president is spiders. It's true. It is known and it is proven mathematically.
These things are known.
You cannot. Yeah, it is known. You cannot argue with the logic.
Matt has spoken.
Oh man, but yeah. So that's all that. That's fantastic. You got any other thoughts on our president? Because I don't.
No, I actually don't give him any thought, really.
Yeah, it's which is the way our country is supposed to be. We're supposed to have, like, the average person is supposed to have no conception of what the federal government is or does.
Yeah.
It's just supposed to be a tiebreaker when states try to tax each other.
True.
But here we are with our president on television muttering.
Shut her, you dog face pony soldier. It's like, I don't know if that one, or if you fool me once, you fool me, can't fool me again.
Got him.
I miss George Bush.
Yeah. Hey, you forgot Poland. I remember that one too.
Good
and
stuff.
He did forget Poland. It was true.
That's a good band name, Forget Poland. You can tell we're just, the listeners right now are just like, bro, like, what is happening right now, you idiots? Like, in a couple weeks, and so you're all giddy, like trying to, I don't know.
We're just, it was that when we went to like a timeshare seminar, and some really interesting people taught us some like really cool new theories of government.
It's great.
Yeah. And they made us eat weird cactuses.
And then we had to sell Amway. It was the thing ever.
Yeah. No, it's definitely not I thought it was a pyramid scheme at first, but they actually, when the guy told me it's not a pyramid scheme, it's not. He said it just like that. And you know what? I trust him.
I mean, if I keep working 30, 40 hours a day, my downstream is going to start paying off big.
It will. Just when you look at, you bring in more people, which is not a pyramid thing. But once you do, with your social network, because you're a popular guy, right? Eventually, they might pick you for the pink Cadillac or whatever it is that. Oh no, that's a different one. Anyway, I know. Although I will say, and then I promise listeners, we'll move to the next thing. I have a desperate desire for a Mary Kay pink Cadillac. Do you know why?
I do not know why.
Have you ever seen one of those on a used car lot? No, you haven't. And the reason is they control that color pink, that specific blend of beads and pearls and metal flake that makes that incredible pink Cadillac. And all of those cars are leased. And at the end of the lease term, it has to go back to GM and be painted white.
What?
So I need to steal one from a regional director or whatever and keep it pink and, take maybe I'll just rip the fender or side mirror off of one and take it to a paint shop and get it matched. But I need a Mary Kay pink Cadillac just because they don't want me to have one.
Yeah, agreed. Now I want one too.
Yeah, we need them. Guys out there, if your wife or husband or whatever significant other is the Mary Kay representative, mail me the side mirror or bumper piece real quick. Just whatever. And let's get this done. Let's get this taken care of. We're going to bring it back to the people. We're going to put the power back in people's hands.
I'm so into this. Thank you, Lord.
Let's do it. We're going to publish it.
Well, we're going to put it on the peer-to-peer networks.
Yeah. Oh man.
Can't control the signal.
Yeah, you can't stop the signal. I will not be happy until my Uber shows up in like a beat up Honda CRV in Cadillac pink.
Like, I kind of want to do my Sprinter van in that color now.
Yes. Everything.
Yeah.
My motorcycle, whatever.
I want to gun that color. I almost picked up a gun. Sorry, YouTube.
Yeah, no, that was almost an airsoft gun that he almost thought about thinking about maybe picking up one day.
Guns are icky. I don't actually like
guns. Guns are actually like a little bit. They smell weird and look funny, and we're not into them at all. I would never have any in my office. So, all right, next topic. David Chippersman.
This guy.
Yeah, the big man with the face. It's not been a good week.
It has not. It definitely has not.
Yeah. So we got, two major deals. A bunch of people within the ATF came out basically saying this guy's not cool, right? A rabid partisan, which is not the type of, verbiage you get when from feds talking about another fed usually. So, it's certainly problematic when you have your former coworkers being like, no, this guy's like totally not appropriate for that office.
Yeah, it really is. And with Sullivan, right? Former acting director of the ATF. It's like, nah, bruh.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, that's going to do a bad thing.
Yeah.
Too political to lead an unbiased agency. I wonder what agency they're talking about.
It's not the BATFE that I know.
Not the Batfuls. No, he must be up for nomination for like city council or something. I don't know. But then Susan Collins. So these are one of those, fence sitters that we were worried about. And she has come out and basically cited, and this is another thing where, hey, the grassroots actually made a difference. Enough people wrote letters or stuff where she's like, well, this is like not normal for a administrative appointment. So she's come out to say that because he's so weirdly divisive, she will vote against his confirmation.
That's interesting to me. But also I'm very glad about it because that face. Ugh.
Yeah. After meeting with Mr. Chippers, listening to Mainers, and reviewing his record, I have decided to vote against him to serve as the ATF director. In recent years, Mr. Chipman has been an outspoken critic of the firearms industry and has made statements that demean law-abiding gun owners, which is stern criticism coming from a Mainer.
Yeah, I was like, wait, do they actually call themselves Mainers?
I don't. Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm just sitting here with all my Coloraders.
What Mainans? I don't think Mainans would. Hold on.
I mean, clearly, if they're politicians are saying Maine.
She didn't say that. I said that.
No, it says it in the thing. I swear. Wait, did you write this article?
No.
Let's see. I'm trying to find it right now. Bear with me. I don't know.
No, people who live in Maine are called Mainers and Downeasters.
Downeasters.
That is not make sense, the second one, but whatever.
Let's see.
We sometimes, this is written by a person, we're referred to as Mainers. When self-depreciating humor takes hold, we sometimes identify ourselves as maniacs.
I mean, that makes it. Yeah, it's a quote from the article. After meeting with Mr. Chipman, listening to Mainers, and reviewing his record.
Oh, wow. Listening to Mainers. Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, but I mean, at least she's listening to her constituents. I'm sure.
I don't believe her.
Yeah.
But whatever.
It was a very bad week for him. I hope he has more.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I hope he gets sick or whatever, but I
don't know. I just hope he dies penniless and in the gutter.
I just hope it's not about. It's not Yeah. No, to me, it's not about like getting sick. It's about the suffering, right? It's about like what I hope for isn't the actual, gut rot disease, or, some form of flesh maggot. It's the circumstances that accompany, right, that situation. I would be fine generally with however that comes about, but I would never hope that he actually gets sick or physically gets infested with maggots. It's the result, that I support.
No, I don't want him to have a great life. I would like it to be fraught with turmoil.
Just at minimum uncomfortable and embarrassing.
We are awful people. Like, I'm realizing that we are awful.
Man, look,
I don't apologize.
We're the real journalists, right? We ask the hard hitting questions and say the low banging insults that everybody wants to hear.
Well, you can tell no difference between this fine journalistic podcast and TMZ.
Oh man, but yeah, like, whatever. Screw that guy.
Yeah,
he'll he's not getting confirmed. The concern is, right, like, what are they going to put up in his place?
Right. I mean, fortunately,
find another 200 pounds of spiders.
Yeah, it doesn't get much worse than like somebody who's worked for all the anti-gun organizations in the universe. But I'm sure it's not going to be good for anybody.
I'm going to do a little aside just because, our viewers and listeners haven't heard from us in a while. They probably want to hear some of the spunk. I can understand people who get into anti-gun stuff as like, some kind of sick hobby, or as like a, sex thing, or, in terms of, they had a personal impact or whatever, and they feel that they're going to devote some of their time to what they think is going to, make a difference. I can totally understand that. What I have never been able, and one thing I pride myself in is actually being able to put myself in other people's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot imagine waking up every morning and like setting out to engage in prohibition, right? Like these gun control people to me are like teetotalers. I don't get them. Like, I do not understand why these people. Well, teetotalers I kind of more understood because some bad things were happening to them by people who, were drinking a lot. Gun people, it's like generally they weren't, anyway, I just don't get it. I don't understand how you can just wake up every morning and be like, there's this thing that like half at least of the nation loves to do. And today I'm going to take one more step to take it.
I completely 100% agree. Like, I go out of my way not to stop people from doing anything.
Right.
Like, not even criminal activity. I don't care, man. Like,
as long as it doesn't hurt me or my stuff, I'm like, whatever, exactly. Dude.
If it hurts me, we're going to have harsh words and high velocity. But if it hurts anything else, like, I genuinely don't care. You want to hurt yourself? Like, do drugs? Like, do drugs. Fine. I don't care.
Do it. It's actually cool. So they should do that. I read about that once.
Amazing.
It was his book, something about being scared in Las Vegas.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear.
But like I don't get it. I can't, and it actually bothers me because sometimes I have to sit down with these people, and I just like, it's like you're talking to an animal, and it speaks English, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're saying, okay, so like, let's come to a solution that will actually accomplish these objectives, right? What are your objectives? And you look across the table and there's just this like, large egret there, and it goes in perfect English, give me the cheese. And you say, well, there isn't actually cheese here. But I think we were talking about saving lives or whatever. So do you want to like talk about going down that road? And then the egret goes, I came for cheese. Give it to me.
What kind of cheese?
It just wants the cheese. Right? That like that's logically what talking to them is like, because it's like we need to ban assault weapons. It's like, dude, this is a Wendy's.
It's so weird that you just said cheese because I was just looking at all cheese is mission specific.
That's true. That's true.
When you said that, I was like, oh crap. Because I got a notification, someone commented on it, and it was a spammer. So I went to delete it, and then you said cheese, and I was like, am I doing
Right, but yeah, you see what you know what I mean there? Is that too insane of an example?
No. I 100% agree. It's like I cannot relate with a talking egret who can only think of cheese.
Yeah. And that is literally, and again, I mean, guys, if you want to contest me on my math, put it down in the comments, but I can tell you that the science checks out. These gun control people are actually birds. Put the debate aside, whether birds, in a organic natural sense or a government drone sense, right? Put that debate aside. But they're birds, just want one thing, and they're confused about the cheese. They think it's an assault weapons ban. So that's what's caused all of this kerfuffle over the years. And I just don't get it. And it's frustrating because I have to sit down with that bird all the time. And it's like, hey, it's me again. I still don't have cheese for you. I got on a flight. It was weird. But
no, that's actually, that was well said. As odd as it was well said the entire way through.
Oh, thank you. Maybe I should eat more of those special cactuses.
Right.
All right. Next up, and I'll actually say I was here for this, and I was very honored to be invited as a guest.
That's cool.
Yeah, I saw Dan Zimmerman there. He was taking photos with the media, and he got a picture of me shaking the Texas governor's hand. And so what happened? Well, Governor Abbott signed a 7-pack of gun bills. And I was saying, like, usually when you hear, oh yeah, they just passed a whole bunch of gun bills, you're like, oh no. Right?
Yeah.
But these are actually pretty decent. We got SB 19, which is basically, it's kind of designed there to mess with all these companies that mess with gun companies. So it prohibits a government entity like, level of government in the state of Texas from doing any contract work with a business that discriminates against gun businesses.
Wow.
Which, wow, banks, you're better behave.
Wow.
SB, yeah, it's pretty dope. I think that's actually really cool. SB 20 allows guests to store guns in their hotel rooms. I don't know the story behind that. There must have been some stuff there.
Yeah. SB
550, who I met the young lady that is behind this bill, and her law partner. They were very cool. They were very nice. It removes. So this does something really fascinating. Like, apparently they got open carry, but it like specifically said in a shoulder or belt holster. So there was this concern that if you like had a drop leg or whatever, like some other type of holster, that you would be in violation of the law.
I would just wrap a piece of string around my holster and then around whatever else I wanted to attach it to, like the belt.
That'd be funny. Yeah. It's a belt holster, see?
Yeah. You didn't define attachment.
But they got rid of it in SB 550, which is a cool gun number.
Very cool.
If you guys know what gun I'm referring, please put it in the comments. So yeah, that was cool. HB 957 gets rid of the criminal offense, the state offense regarding manufacturer, transporting, or repairing a silencer. And the big part, it says that any firearm suppressor made in Texas and that hasn't left Texas is not subject to federal laws and regulations. We'll go back to that one because there's a bit to unpack there. A lot of people are like, how? And it's very interesting. HB 1500 prevents the government from preventing the sale or transportation of firearms during disasters or emergencies. So it takes away that emergency power of local governments.
Wow.
You're right. Very smart.
Yeah.
HB 1927, basically constitutional carry. So Texans can legally carry a handgun without a license anywhere. Well, most places. They had to compromise on that a little bit.
Yeah.
HB 2622, finally, and there is much applause, establishes Texas as a Second Amendment sanctuary state.
Much applause.
I wasn't expecting that. Purports to protect them from any new federal law, which, I mean, why? Why not just prohibit your cops from talking to the feds at all?
Yeah.
But yeah, so all of that was signed. My understanding is he had actually signed these bills the day before, and the signing that we were at was, like the ceremony version. But yeah, I don't understand how that stuff works, but it looked cool, and I had fun. There was no snacks, so I was
that kind of stinks. But the whole thing, man, like that's awesome. Holy moly.
It's a lot.
I kind of want to move to Texas. Ish.
Yeah. I've always said that the two states I would ever live in would only be Florida and Texas, and that's still true. So I think, constitutional carry is big, right? I think they're the 20. Wait, isn't it like 20 states that have that? Or am
I think it's maybe even more than that.
Right. I think Texas is like the 23rd.
Yes. Something like that.
Yeah, which is pretty dope when you think about it.
It is.
Right. And it was funny because those guys I was talking to there were like, okay, now when are you making Florida the next one? And I was like, you do not understand what Republicans in Florida are like.
Right.
They're not spiders, they're lizards, because the climate is too hot for the spiders. And so it's even harder to understand what they're saying or thinking because they're lizard brained. But so yeah, let's talk about 957, because that's the one that you guys are probably thinking the most, whoa, they did the suppressor thing. So the problem with the law is that it outright says that these things aren't subject to the NFA, which it poses some preemption problems. I think they're right. Like, I think the logic behind this bill, right, is that the only thing that empowers the government to act on the suppressor regulation is the Commerce Clause, right? The Commerce Power, because that's the power that the law was passed under.
And this is interstate commerce.
Interstate commerce, right? Yeah. So the government, the Congress has the power to regulate commerce among the states, right? Interstate commerce power. So theoretically, there's a point where something is not involved in interstate commerce. We haven't really found that yet. The closest we got was the Gun-Free School Zones Act, which just didn't even mention interstate commerce, right? And the Supreme Court said, no, you idiots. But so because of that, you should be able to say that something that's never left your state is not an article of interstate commerce and is thus not subject to federal law. So basically what this is a codification of a correct interpretation of the commerce power.
Mm-hmm.
It is very close to another state that did this, and it was struck down to supremacy, though. In a different federal circuit, no doubt, but it's the wording is not how I would have done it. I think that this is calculated to bring a challenge rather than just stand on its own. But so yeah, basically, long story short, is this bill, what they're saying is, hey, if a suppressor is made in Texas and doesn't leave, they're like basically saying, hey, everybody, on notice, we think that these aren't subject to the commerce power.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's basically what this law is doing. The question is, how is the Fed's going to respond to that? Of course, they generally don't like it when you point out that their new clothes are, just their, balls and butt fully exposed.
Right.
They hate that. And they're like, no, this is the finest silk. And that's exactly what's going on here. For the longest time, the commerce power has been, and should be. The court hasn't really stepped in on this. And in fact, that there was the case, it's Wickard, where they really pooped the bed on it. But that was the high watermark, and they've been, and so basically what that case said was, it was about weed. There was somebody in, I believe it was Georgia, who was just growing weed in their backyard, and they're like, I don't want to give it to anyone. It's just mine. It's not ever going to leave the state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the court's argument there was this, like, oh, well, but I mean, if you make it in the state, then like it'll kind of affect like demand, and that'll like, maybe like affect the market. And like, it was this total like wish-wash, like we just have to save drug prohibition case. And that was the high water mark. They've been stepping back since then. So this law is, designed to hopefully force them to step it in the correct direction. So the question now will be, how will this look like going forward? Did you scan me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I scanned you.
how am I doing?
Not full of spiders.
Oh, thank God. They didn't get me yet. Not no spiders. Body temperature still body type. But yeah, so I'm sorry for going off for that long. It's just a really interesting. Good. It's a really interesting facet of law, and it is very much a emperor's new clothes thing. It's just now people are kind of starting to wake up to, oh no, that's actually the federal government's balls. Like that's not a new outfit.
That's I am very so when I first heard about this, I was like, man, I can't wait to hear what Matt thinks about it, because we've talked about this multiple times.
Yeah,
not in Texas, but in other places, and framing it in such a way that it creates a challenge is a very interesting strategy.
The only thing that might suck is like what might happen is something like what happened in Kansas, where you don't get the law figured out until there's an enforcement action against an individual.
Mm-hmm.
And which means that like it might take some patriot, putting his neck on the line, right, and getting tagged with this to get it proved out, and that's really horrible. Like, if the feds were sporting,
yeah,
they would bring a specific challenge, right? Or they wouldn't, like, because basically what they wind up doing is just publicly executing a random person and taking their freedom away,
right,
and being like, see, Texas state, I was right.
It's so interesting, huh?
Yeah, so it's scary.
It is. I don't want to.
There's all these people that are going to want to, like, because let's imagine you're a guy in Texas and you've got a lathe, right? And you have got some materials and you want to make some money. First thing you're going to want to do is be like, I'm going to spin up some suppressors and sell them, right? Rational. And also you'd totally be intending not to break the law or anything.
Right.
This is going to wind up, and what are you going to do? Well, you're going to put them on your local groups or whatever, and then some ham and eggs dude is going to be like, I would like to purchase one of your firearm suppressors. Can you confirm that these are not registered to you in the NFRTFR? And that guy winds up getting his life wrecked, all so that they could defend their precious immoral law. Like, the whole thing makes me sad.
Yeah.
They're clearly trying to do something right here. But and the government is clearly without the scope of their power. And it's like you're pointing out, hey, remember the contract we signed, that whole US Constitution? Well, you're in breach, so I'm taking back this little piece that I got. And then they go, no, and shoot you. Like that
escalated so quickly.
Yeah, like that's how the Fed plays. Like, yeah, like I said on the channel, dealing with the feds is like playing games with a 4-year-old. It doesn't matter what game you think you're playing to the 4-year-old. The game is I win.
So true.
But yeah, so God bless ye, merry Texans. I hope this goes well.
Yeah, except for the instructors that opposed the constitutional carry. I hope that they are in the streets with Chipman.
For those guys, it's not the drowning that I want. It's not that I want them to drown. It's the filling the lungs with water. I'm not concerned with how that gets done, be it by super virus or actual water inhalation. That's it. I would never want those instructors who, for the sake of their tiny little pathetic businesses, wanted to throw all of their fellow people under the bus. I definitely would never hope that they drown. It's just that I really think it would make funny noises if they got water in their lungs.
Club.
What do you think?
Club.
Yeah, it would make that funny one.
Yeah, that one right there. Speaking as an expert on drowning.
Yeah, the glub. Classic. That's a classic symptom.
Classic.
Seen it 100 times in my days. But yeah, so good on you, Abbott.
Yeah.
Nice guy too.
Very.
Handshake.
That's awesome. Looked you in the eyes?
Yes.
Huh?
Looked a little confused, but whatever.
I mean, spiders.
Yeah. The spiders were like, hey, no, be nice to this one. I think he's on our side.
The spiders were like, if those guys want cheese.
We want that. We want this.
All
right. Next up, we got another governor. This one, not cool. This is actually an interesting thing. So, like we were talking earlier, there's been a violent crime uptick. It's not huge, but it's there. And he is blaming heat and shekels for this uptick. So yeah, like it is known that in the hot weather, people do get violent. Like that is known. And it's, especially as a Floridian, it's a very cyclical thing. The other day was the first day of summer and I just didn't leave the house for fear of being attacked. But it's a normal thing. So he's like saying basically it's the heat and everyone being caged like animals during, the world events. That's what the America's Armpit governor is blaming on the increase in crime. Of course, previously it was all guns, right?
Yeah.
And like he passed all of this crap. But of course that didn't do anything. So imagine that, when your solution doesn't work and you have to actually point out reasonable problems. Like, oh hell, it's funny. When you lock everybody in cages and then you make it really hot and suddenly let them out, they're pissed.
I mean, isn't this like the plot to Predator?
Yeah, right?
I mean, we've seen how this goes, guys.
Right.
Let's get Arnold Schwarzenegger and put him in protective custody because we're going to need him real soon.
Yeah. So this is just good. Yeah, heat and shackles. And I think it's interesting seeing somebody who, from a state that was not very cool about, the lockdowns and stuff, referring to it as such. I don't know. That's, to me, I want to give him credit. It's like, okay, yeah, you're pointing out an actual thing, right? Like this is a rational observation.
Yeah.
But
you don't want to give him credit for anything. Like,
no.
If he was like, the sky is blue, I'd be like, no, thank you.
You'd be like, wait a minute, that's spiders. I don't think I trust you, spiders.
Exactly.
Y'all are creepy.
Yeah, I agree. Like the last year is going to have a very lasting social effect.
Mm-hmm.
People are upset. People are mad. Life has changed. We will never go back to what life was. This is our new normal. This craziness that we have lived in, and we all experienced the last year and a half now, and nothing will ever be the same. And
I didn't really notice anything.
I didn't either. But psychologically, like I know a lot of people who did notice, and they're weird now. Yeah,
people who were like socialites, like butterflies.
Yeah,
they're all messed up. I've got a few friends who were like, bar every weekend, and even on like Thursdays, right, and stuff. They'd be, going to all the clubs.
Yeah,
and now they're just like shattered.
It's remnants. Weird. I go where I always went. I go where I want.
Yeah.
Do what I want, and I don't care.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been working from home since before it was cool. So I'm like,
same.
I think,
not from home, but from my office that has.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically, it's your joint, right?
Yeah.
I mean, my dog was happy.
Right?
I think, because I left even less. So she was like, oh, this is cool. Probably.
Yeah. She's like, it's okay that you're a hermit. I am too.
Yeah. Did you know that I'm locked in this cage with you?
You're not locked in here with. Wait, I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
Yeah. Is that what she said? Is that what you said? Oh, she's sleeping again.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Next up is a cool column from the gun writer.
All right.
Mr. Lee Williams. And he basically points out that nobody has made a better case for abolishing the ATF than the ATF itself.
Fair.
Yeah, and I also like to point this out because I've seen a lot of you guys referring to, and even sometimes me, you refer to the ATF as them, as they. That's grammatically incorrect. It is both grammatically correct and way more fun to refer to the ATF as it.
Oh.
Right, because it's a government agency.
Yeah.
It is a singular object spider ball thing.
True.
So just remember that, guys. And it feels fun to do. Trust me, it feels fun to do. So yeah, so basically this whole thing is Mr. Williams just roasting all of the failures of ATF, the history of failure, Ruby Ridge, Waco, Fast and Furious, deep dive into all this stuff, their antiquated duties, like the manic things that caused people to be scared, like Remington's rifle cane, like the stuff that led to these responsibilities. It's really good. I just wanted to plug this because this is a really rational and logical take and a really nice deep dive into all this stuff. If y'all have been just wanting to take a look into, it is an opinion piece, so take that for what it's worth. But if y'all want to take a look at this guy's take, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah,
I just emailed it to myself a couple minutes ago.
Look at this quote. I have known federal agents from other agencies, FBI, the U.S. Marshals Service, and DEA, to name a few, and all of them react the same way whenever the ATF comes up in conversation. Yeah, well, I'm not sure what's up with those guys.
It's like the egret wants menthol.
Yeah. It wants menthol now. We found cheese for it. But I will say, though, the ATF agents I've met have been okay. All of them.
Same. 100% agree.
So those are field agents, though. A lot of those are contractors. They're not actually agents. They're like, blah, 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 some acronym, right? IOIs and stuff like that. They're not actually even employed by the ATF. They're contractors. But those people were all pretty cool. I met a special agent recently. Pretty cool. But it's very clear, orders come from up top. And I think up top is very clearly a disgusting, corrupted spider ball that, there's certain things that you usually do. Like if you in your attic had this corrupt spider ball, you'd, do something about it, probably.
This Marjorie Taylor Greene, who introduced this bill to get rid of the ATF, but really all it does is move all of their responsibilities and duties under different government agencies. What are your thoughts there?
That's how ATF started. Because the IRS said, we don't want to do this. This is unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So they took all of their junior varsity guys and created the ATF.
Yeesh.
But so, yeah, I never read HR 3960, this eliminate the ATF bill.
Me either.
I don't think anything about it. As long as the laws are there, because it's not the ATF that creates these laws or the need to regulate based on the terms of the law.
Mm-hmm.
It's the delegation of the president, right? So if you made a law that shifted over everything, well, president would still get to delegate to that agency and kind of push it in whatever direction the president wanted to do.
That was kind of what I thought too.
Yeah. And so, there would be ways to put this kind of stuff in a walled garden. Right. But I haven't looked at it enough. To really know.
Yeah, same. Oh boy. Our next story comes to us from where? This one I actually didn't have a chance to read before the show.
Right. Oh, the slavery. Sorry, something is just got all these notifications. Slavery and the Second Amendment. This is a really interesting deep dive written by Clayton Cramer. And so we've heard a lot. So, people who want to rewrite history will tell you all kinds of crazy stuff, like our fearless leader telling us that you couldn't buy cannons during the founding era. Right. And the other one that you do hear, I've heard it more than once from pointy heads.
Mhm.
That the purpose of the Second Amendment was to preserve and insulate the institution of slavery. And I think that this is just like one of the most disgusting, intentional, like, obfuscations of truth that have ever existed. Because it's painfully and obviously wrong, especially when you look at the fact that, the original drafting of the Declaration of Independence freed all the slaves. And then when you look at the fact that, at the time of the founding, both the Federalists and Anti-Federalists wrote openly on why the right to arms was protected, right? And some argued that it's so protected you don't need this amendment, right? And others the other way. And they didn't mention anything about the institutional slavery when they were talking about that. It had quite a bit more to do with the small war that they had just fought with their previous government. And the fact that it was, the major turning point in the start of it was the attempt to disarm them, right? Like, that was more what they were concerned with.
Yeah, definitely. I see him quoting the Federalist Papers.
Right.
I was actually
Always
just
fun.
reading through the Federalist Papers today.
Really?
I often do when I have some spare time.
It is a fascinating, like, drama, the way they're written.
Yeah.
And they're all written synonymously, and it's really good. I mean, if you do have a lot of time, guys out there, like, you might want to read the Federalist Papers.
Yeah, like anytime something is brought up that reminds me of them, I go just like look through them, read a couple pages, read some stuff. They're interesting.
Yeah, I love the pseudonyms they'd use.
Yeah, it's like behind the scenes.
Yeah,
of the Bill of Rights.
Right. So yeah, that's cool. Check out Clayton's blog spot.
Very cool. What's this one?
So, boat guns.
Oh, relevant to my interests.
It's an article on TFB by Doug. Little Dougie made it. And it's top 5 long guns for boating defense. And I just kind of like this because it's the opposite of the typical, boat gun conversation you have.
Yeah.
Like, this is how to keep them off of your boat.
Right.
But okay, so what do you think of his list of his selections here?
All right, let's see. No. Yeah. No.
Mm.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. I agree with the AR-15.
Yeah.
The Ruger PC carbine. Okay. Fair enough.
It's like, okay, fine.
and honorable mention 7.62x3.9 is probably the best answer of all of them.
Yeah.
But shotguns, what? No, stop.
Yeah, no, all of this, like, so I think he's dead wrong. All of the shotgun stuff
it's like
weird.
Ridiculous. It's kind of stupid. I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, Doug.
Yeah.
I don't know, but also here, this is blog spam because he picked the Mariner. Oh, cool.
Yeah, and there's a link.
Henry All-Weather.
Right.
Okay. All right. Fair.
The Benelli Nova H2. Is it
H2O?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you. Awesome affiliate blog spam.
Yeah.
But he did hit it like 7.62x3.9, an AR. Sure, fine.
Yeah, the only two that didn't have a link.
Right. Because there's an affiliate link for it.
Oh, right. Oh, no, except he did link a bunch of, like, he got all of his affiliate links into something in 7.62x39, including the Howa 1500. How is that related?
Wait.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. It's there. Okay. Well, yeah, I really like TFB. This article's trash.
This is trash. It's hot trash. It's garbage. But I wanted to talk about, so I like to think about weird situations, and I want to know, Shawn, so give me 2 loadouts of a primary and secondary weapon that you think would be great for, like, if you were on a boat. So maybe give me a loadout for a small boat and a loadout for a yacht.
What? Well, first I would think about, like, what threat would I be trying to mitigate with these firearms? So what threats do we have? Piracy?
Yeah, pirates and
sharks,
Coast Guard. What else? Birds.
Okay, birds. Well, I mean, birds, I guess a shotgun would be okay.
Yep.
But
birds aren't up there in the threat level.
I've been on a lot of boats, and literally none of those things have ever happened to me. So I would probably get a spear gun in case the boat sinks and I have to kill a shark. And I would probably get a flare gun to let people know where to rescue my sunken boat. That's my answer.
My thought is just as a fanciful thing, right? So like the nicest thing about boat defense is that you are on a boat.
Exactly.
And thus, hard to see and be messed with at all. But, like boat combat does happen sometimes. I think that the best all-rounder general purpose thing. So if I were to do a loadout, it would be an AK-74 as the primary, because that's just the best gun. And then as a secondary, I would not do, specifically for the bird situation, I would want to have not a Taurus Judge, but the Thunder 5. What came before the Taurus Judge? Just so you could just zap, an annoying bird if it, became an issue.
Okay, that's fair. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't mind like having a shotgun, but if I would probably want something all-purpose, and I would probably want something 30 caliber.
Right. So,
yeah, like an AK would be a fantastic option. And plus, like I've seen rusty ass AKs work really well. So that's gonna be a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, no, all this stuff about like the all-weather and stuff, focus of these guns, it's like, are you leaving the gun on the boat? Like forever?
Boat gun.
No, but I mean, like, why does it have to be all stainless? It doesn't.
Yeah, he's like, what stuff has water in the title? The Mariner.
The Mariner. Yeah, that's the boat shotgun that they have. Or I've always wanted to actually take my Moss 44, which is a French semi-automatic rifle that was only ever issued to the French Navy, and it's got a little anchor on it. So I'm like, this must be good for boat stuff.
That's right. I want anything Chris Costa, because doesn't he have a trident? As part of it. And I'm just giving this Doug E guy some guff. Like, I'm sure he's a great dude. I've read some of his articles that are great. I'm just
they're usually great, but this is spam.
Just giving him a hard time.
This is spam. I don't know why it wound up, but I was like, you know what, we need something lighthearted to talk about.
I think it's good.
Yeah, but I mean, it might be that where I'm from, that I'm also just generally more concerned about actually being attacked while on a boat. I think you'd want to have a firearm on your boat.
I would, absolutely, without question.
But the spear gun is quite practical. So what you do is you get that what's it called? There's a solution.
I don't know. Oh, actually, he does mention laws. There's laws against shooting a rifle or shotgun slug over bodies of water, whereas buckshot or birdshot or a pistol are fine.
Yeah, but those laws are stupid. So I'm not, if once you're on the boat, you just, it's boat law.
If pistols are fine, then I want a pistol in 7.62 by 3.9.
Yeah, a pistol. Yeah, the chopper.
Yeah,
that's interesting. I'd never heard of that. I have to look more into that. I don't know if that's like a local thing or what. But what you want is the APS.
APS.
Yeah, that's that Russian underwater thing that shoots like spears.
Yeah, that rifle. I've definitely seen that. Let's see. I'm pulling it up. Yeah, I'll throw it on the screen here.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's a fully automatic spear gun.
Yeah, it shoots like bolts.
Yeah, look at those. Look at the size of that magazine.
Yeah. Okay.
And what I love is the barrel life. It's like 200 rounds.
Oh, geez. That's interesting. It's
not. You're shooting hard steel, dugs out of the barrel.
Huh. That's pretty cool. Anti-frogman techniques.
The needler.
Good stuff.
This is the official needler.
Yeah, actually, yes. Now I want.
Yeah, no, I need it too.
Good stuff, man.
All right. So yeah, I guess that's it, guys. As always, though, you need your patches.
Got to get those patches.
They're available for sale. They're online.
It's Flare.
A great boat defense weapon.
AK.
Yep.
Yeah. And the water can be dangerous to go alone.
Yeah.
Take the AK.
It is, because the water is mean.
It is.
It doesn't care about your feelings. The water is like facts. It doesn't care about your feelings.
Yeah, it doesn't give about any of it. Let's see. I'm going over the.
Yeah, let's take a look. What's on there? What's the latest patch?
Oh, no new pre-orders. Let's see. We got patch of the month. Okay, this one I liked.
That one, yeah, that just came in. I like that one.
Yeah, it's a drone that's all armed out with Roman candles and whatnot. So pretty fantastic. I'm in.
Yeah.
Sold.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I really do like patches. I have lots of patch walls. I enjoy getting patches, receiving patches, purchasing patches. I have tons of patches that I bought.
Yeah. I mean, I like these patches so much that I actually put them out on a patch wall in my room and forget to bring them in here to show them off. But because they're really good. I've got to remember when we get the new ones to actually bring it in so you guys can see, but they're all really high quality, all like 3-dimensional, and it's that good PVC, the nice soft kind.
Seeing you become a firearms patch guy has been one of the greatest privileges of my life.
Yeah.
It's amazing. But yeah, it's like
that's what I'd call you, privileged. That's a good name for you.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment because I grew up poor AF. So having any kind of privilege is really nice.
Yeah, it's nice. I remember when I got bathroom privileges reinstated in elementary school. It was one of the best days of my life.
How'd you get them taken away? Never mind. Patriotpatch.co coupon code TWIG10 saves you money.
Twig like the thing you find on the ground. 10 like the percent you're gonna get off for being friends with us.
Ah, yes.
All right, boys. Talk to you next week.
Deuces.